The Gray Man is a $200 million movie that recently released on Netflix. It stars Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans and is directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, who are responsible for some of the better Marvel movies. So I figured this would be at least acceptable Friday night entertainment. But oh my god, consuming this sludge just about broke me, you guys. It is impossibly generic. The Gray Man is almost completely devoid of anything that could be considered even remotely interesting in the realms of acting, dialogue, story, themes, or action. It's actually kind of impressive. The experience of watching it actually took on an interesting trajectory for me, because it went from blandly, boringly inoffensive in the first hour into a torturous experience in the second hour. It was like the essence of genericness multiplied into endless infinities of boredom, as it pummeled its way from inane scene to inane scene, oscillating between exchanges of dialogue so poorly written and so clunkily delivered that it felt like exchanges from Tommy Wiseau's The Room, and action scenes so devoid of motivation that my brain almost exclusively tuned them out. I wish I were being hyperbolic when I say that I cannot remember the plot of this mess, even though I watched it like 2 days ago. Okay, it's coming back to me. God, it's like flashbacks to a bad acid trip, except more fucking boring. Okay, I can do this. Ryan Gosling plays a man with the personality of a black hole that just sucked down a galaxy made exclusively of Valium. And he's an ultra badass CIA guy who's part of a Jason Bourne type program. And then the agency tries to take him down, but he's too badass. Wow, how fucking interesting. How unique. The only shred of humanity in this entire movie is Chris Evans, who clearly had a good time playing the villain and thankfully improvised most of his lines, because they're the only lines in the movie that don't sound like they came from a robot designed with the primary function of writing an absolutely pathetic facsimile of human speech. Like, I cannot believe a real person wrote this script. I just can't. And I know that Gosling can be a pretty wooden actor sometimes, but Jesus, the direction of the actors in general, and I have to believe it's the direction because most of these people aren't bad, is Morbius level. I honestly don't know how this movie isn't getting trashed in the same way that Morbius was, except maybe because it's just too goddamn boring to be worthy of a meme? I don't know. I seriously don't know. So, okay, Jamo, I hear you say, the movie's so generic that it's like a grotesque caricature of a real movie. You've said this plenty. Do you have anything to say about it besides slamming it with negative adjectives? While I am dearly tempted to just say nope and end the video right here, I do have more to say. What baffles me so much about this film in a broader context, outside of its massively insulting blandness, is the directors. I'm not a Marvel fanboy, but I do enjoy a lot of those films. I think they're well done, especially the ones that ride on the charisma of Robert Downey Jr., and it's sort of mystifying that this comes from the same filmmakers as Infinity War and Endgame. Those movies have a lot of energy and personality in both the writing and execution, and they bring to life a vivid, colorful world that feels completely antithetical to the Gray Man. So what happened? My guess, and I think it's probably pretty accurate, is that when you direct a Marvel movie, you're more of a talented yes man there to shoot footage as opposed to having creative input. Maybe not all the time. I mean, they do have some people with really strong creative voices, like James Gunn doing Guardians of the Galaxy, but I think this is probably true most of the time. So my guess is that the Russos proved themselves capable of shooting action footage, had their name on these big Marvel movies, and were able to get this budget, but man, left to their own devices, the results are pathetic. This movie is pathetic, and the fact that it cost $200 million is depressing. You could have funded 100 movies, over 100 movies, by filmmakers with ideas or style or stories they wanted to tell, and instead you made this. It's just, ugh. And that's The Gray Man. It's a movie that feels like the ultimate evolution of what we think of when we envision a generic action movie, to the power of infinity and beyond. I can't get over it. I had to make this video. I had to divest myself of the bile that had built up in me. It may not be objectively worse than Morbius, but I hated it so much more. It felt so much longer. It squandered over twice as much money that could have been spent on literally anything else, and is an absolute waste of people with actual talent, and not just Jared Leto. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you in the next one. Hopefully for something good, or at least something interesting. I don't think I've ever been this angry, except when we did our Matrix Revelations, Resurrections. What was that movie called? I don't know. Matrix 4. When we did that. But yeah. Until next time, peace, love, and Billy Bob Thornton, you goobers. Don't watch The Gray Man.